You know, I think this shot would work better if you went a bit higher. No, a bit higher. No, really high. Yeah, that's better. Welcome to Click. I'm Spencer Kelly, and welcome to Oslo in Norway. Now, if you're wondering why we have such a spectacular opening shot this week, well, firstly, it never hurts, does it? But secondly, it's because this week we're looking at the latest unmanned aerial vehicles. These are the drones. Yep, we're up in the air to find out how to fly and film from drones, big and small. We'll take you to flight school to hone your piloting skills, and we'll get the lowdown on the research that could make these things make themselves. All that plus the latest tech news and the very best of this week's web in Webscape. Flying high, dipping low, going fast or holding steady. These are the easy-to-fly, ultra-stable, radio-controlled aircraft many of us have been waiting for. And coolest of all, they now come fitted with cameras. In the last couple of years, drones have hit the skies, and they're already being put to work in all kinds of fields, from following the action on the pitch to getting that £1 million mansion shot for your property sale. Hobbyists are also taking some pretty amazing shots and giving birth to two new buzzwords in the process. Forget Instagram and the selfie. All rise for Dronestagram and the droney. Of course, the word drone conjures up darker pictures too. It's also the name given to the much larger remote-controlled planes controversially used in warfare. And inevitably, even the smaller helicopters we're interested in can and have been weaponised, like this one, which is fitted with a taser. But there is evidence that drones can save lives too, by acting as eyes in the sky in search and rescue ops. Some can even fly autonomously, following the owner as they do things where you really do need both hands on the job.
Looks good.
And, of course, they are a godsend for low-budget filmmakers who can now get the shots they've only ever dreamed of. And that is where this chap comes in. This is the Mini Pro, and it's the first of its kind. A really compact drone capable of carrying heavy stuff like professional film equipment. And this is the kind of thing it can do. This is the city of Trondheim, as only the birds have seen it before. Norwegian production company Fram Film specialises in filming scenery from interesting angles. And as camera operator Grim Berg explained, drones give you many different perspectives from one camera.
You can do interesting aerials that a helicopter can't do. You can go a lot closer to a subject. You can follow someone through the park. You can go from close-up of you, for example. In one shot, go up and see this whole park.
And it seems like it just needs a couple of people to do what previously would have taken a lot of people, even if it's just going smoothly along the ground.
Yeah, it's replacing a lot of dolly shots. It's replacing a lot of crane shots that usually would need 10 people to do. But it's also something in itself. It's a completely new thing. And when something is new, it's very exciting as well, visually.
The Mini Pro has 8 blades, 2 on each of 4 ultralight carbon fibre arms. It's carrying a Canon 5D, the type of stills camera that also shoots very high quality video. And this isn't the only drone we've come to see. As pilot Eric Solberg configured this 8-armed beast, I got the tech breakdown from Grim.
I like this, first of all. I like this, looks like you're going shark fishing.
Yeah,
exactly. That's just to take the strain off your hands.
This is heavy duty. The drone consists of 2 parts. One part is actually what I call the flying spaghetti monster, which is all these arms with the 8 propellers, which is giving the uplift and flying the drone. The second part is with the camera and the legs and all these motors and wires and all that. We can control the camera itself. So we can tilt and we can shift and we can pan and do some interesting camera shots. So
and this is more than a one-person job.
This is a two-person
This is basically
job.
two separate things stuck together in 2 separate operators.
It is possible to fly a drone one man alone, but if you want to do this professionally and you want good results, you need 2 people. There is 1 camera operator, like me in this case, and 1 pilot, which is Eric.
And with so much power and weight to control, you can see why you wouldn't want to try and steer the copter and the camera at the same time.
Oh my goodness, it's gone.
In fact, Grim and Eric recently took the drone to Svalbard to shoot part of the video for the UK band Clean Bandit's new song, Come Over. One of the things that really makes this work for professional filmmakers is the way it can shoot rock-steady shots, even in an unforgiving environment. As the aircraft tilts and wobbles, the 4K ultra-high-def Blackmagic camera is kept completely stable by the auto-balancing gimbal that holds it.
And how quickly can the gimbal react? If you're buffeted by some wind or if you suddenly want to accelerate the drone, can it react quick enough to keep the camera rock steady?
Yeah, absolutely. It's 400 times per second. It compensates, so it's not gonna be any delay that anyone's gonna notice.
Steadier than our cameraman.
Yeah, perhaps.
And there's plenty more from the skies and the ground in a couple of minutes' time after this week's tech news.
In what's said to be the largest data breach ever known, a Russian group has hacked 1.2 billion usernames and passwords belonging to more than 500 million email addresses. Hold Security, a US firm specializing in discovering breaches, claimed the stolen information came from more than 420,000 websites, including many it describes as leaders in virtually all industries across the world. The firm didn't give details of the companies affected by the hack. If you don't know your tablets from your phablets, maybe ask a 6-year-old. According to a study by British communications watchdog Ofcom, 6-year-olds have a greater understanding of digital tech than the average 45-year-old. The report claims that digital knowledge peaks around 15 and steadily drops thereafter. The study also reports that the average Briton now spends 8 hours and 41 minutes using technology each day. That's more time than they spend sleeping. And Europe's Rosetta probe has become the first spacecraft in history to be manoeuvred alongside a comet. The probe has taken 10 years, 5 months and 4 days to catch up with Comet 67P, and it's already begun sending back some pretty amazing pictures of its surface. The probe travelled almost 6.5 billion kilometres on its journey to reach the comet and will now follow it around the sun before deploying a craft to land on its surface in November. Rumours that Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck are leading the mission are unfortunately not true.
So we've established that drones are really useful for companies which want to produce amazing looking videos. But the reason everyone is getting so excited about these things is that they're now small and affordable enough for almost anyone to muck about with. They are not, however, quite easy enough to just unbox and fly. And there are rules about where you're allowed to fly them. For example, not near the Norwegian Royal Palace.
And that's why Jen Copestake, Mark Cieslak and I decided to spend a day at flight school.
Few things compare to the tranquility of the countryside in summer. Tranquility we're shattering with our drones. This deserted airfield outside of London is the perfect location for us to practice flying 3 different drones from 3 different ends of the spectrum. But before taking to the skies, it's worth seeking advice from an expert radio control aviator.
Right, so things I want you to check before you go and fly. Make sure that you control the atmosphere that you're flying in, so check the sun, the wind, make sure you're safe for emergencies and eventualities, check transmitter control and any sight rules. If you're flying on public property, can you control everything in that environment? If a horse rider was to come through, a dog walker, can you make sure that you're safely away from them?
A couple other things to bear in mind. If you're using drones commercially, you need to be licensed. And even if you aren't flying commercially but are using a camera on your drone, you have to stay 50 meters away from people not involved in your activity. Right, so we're ready to go. I'll be flying the Extreme Flyers Micro Drone 2.0. It's a great entry-level option and is the cheapest aircraft we're testing. That's reflected in the quality of the camera, which couldn't be called HD. Its controls are designed for real pilots, so it can be difficult to get to grips with if you've never flown an aircraft before, but you should be in control with a few hours of practice. A special algorithm helps you do tricks in stunt mode. It's incredibly nimble, perfect if you're filming extreme sports. And despite its delicate appearance, it is very rugged. And if anything did break, its modular design means it's easy to replace any parts. And some of them can even be 3D printed. And one of the most amazing things about it is you can launch it from the ground or from the air.
I'll be flying the Parrot AR Drone 2.0. It's fitted with forward and downward facing cameras. To fly it indoors, there's an indoor hull with prop guards to protect against spinning blades. It doesn't need them outside though, which helps improve its manoeuvrability. The AR drone doesn't come with a controller. Instead, it makes use of Wi-Fi and an app, which works with iOS and Android smartphones and tablets.
Controlling this drone using a tablet is nowhere near as precise as any of the drones that can be controlled using sticks. But it does have one advantage. The cameras that are on the AR drone, any footage that they record is sent directly to this tablet, and it's really easy to upload it and share it online.
Owners of NVIDIA's Shield handheld can make use of that device's analog controllers as well. The AR drone has been available for quite some time, and it has a well-supported ecosystem of augmented reality apps, including dogfighting and air racing games. But at this price point, it's difficult to ignore the occasional lag that occurs when trying to control it. A fun toy, but hardcore quadcopter aviators might prefer our next offering.
Finally, I'll be flying the DJI Phantom 2 Vision Plus. This one is for more serious flyers, and it comes with plenty of useful features. It has indicator lights to tell you from a distance of any issues with, say, the battery. There's a dashboard app for your phone giving you its status, GPS coordinates and a view from its camera. Oh, and it goes like a rocket, really fast and really high.
What's really surprised me about this drone is just how stable it is. I mean, it's really responsive to the controls, but if you let go of them, it just hangs there. Which is pretty incredible.
But if you want to talk about stability, check out that camera. It too has a gimbal, meaning no matter how the drone tilts during flight, your footage is as smooth as Steadicam. So, with a bit of practice, you can shoot video that will knock your socks off. Now, it is worth mentioning just one more time how important safety is when flying one of these things. They can fall out of the sky for no apparent reason. So, our flight training continues, but there is just time for one flight school selfie. Sorry, drone. We've looked at the rules for flying your drones at home. Now, the aircraft we're filming with in Norway are, of course, much heavier duty than those you can buy in the shop. In fact, they're custom made by drone pilot and ex-engineer Erik Solberg at his Oslo workshop. I joined him while he was tinkering with the Mini Pro that we filmed with earlier to find out what makes him and his drones tick. And he told me that these things wouldn't be here at all if it wasn't for the mobile phone.
The development in the sensors and gyroscopes and accelerometers, which are actually a part of every iPhone and every mobile device today. You know, those that makes, when you flip the screen, it turns around. Without those sensors, it wouldn't be possible to do this. So if it goes a little bit like this, it sends a signal to increase the power here and decrease here a bit. So it does about 400 adjustments per second.
What is the thing that you would still most like to do with a drone that you haven't done yet?
Well, if you look at these big ones, this one here can lift approximately 100 kilos. I weigh 75. So my craziest idea is to actually make a harness similar to those 60s jetpacks, have the drone over me, and, you know, just take off and fly.
I find this drone technology fascinating. I think you could tell that, can you? It's already advanced enough to bring us something that can fly that's this small and something that can fly that's this big. But the whole industry is still just in its infancy. And even now they're dreaming up new jobs for these things to do. Here's Mark Cieslak.
Drones, or UAVs, unmanned air vehicles, are already controversially employed by an increasing number of air forces around the world. BAE Systems is building what it thinks will evolve into the next generation of this technology. Called Taranis, it's an aircraft designed to demonstrate technological capabilities, from stealth to advanced computers, which fly the aircraft to and from its missions. Taranis is designed to have limited autonomy. Human pilots can still control the airplane remotely from bases thousands of miles away.
The aircraft is designed to be almost invisible to radar. That drives the shape of the aircraft, and that by definition makes it quite difficult to control. The airplane has to fly itself. The pilot is too slow when it's on the ground to respond to that. So what the pilot is doing is he's commanding the vehicle, he's telling it where to go, but the detail of how the airplane flies is done on board by the mission system and the computers.
Much of the detail of this project is still top secret. BAE is more forthcoming about some of its other future concepts though, including the Transformer drone, which saves fuel by forming up into an aerodynamically efficient wing. When the aeroplane arrives at its destination, it can split into 3 separate aircraft to perform individual tasks. There's also the drone with an onboard 3D printer, which could print parts, equipment or mini drones as required while performing a mission. Concepts like these, though, are still some way from making the jump from computer-generated animation to reality.
We've pitched this as being a possibility towards the 2040s. Now, we don't imagine that every single component of one of these mini UAVs to be 3D printed, but rather where you have common components across a range of possible UAVs that may be produced, then we may simply have those prefabricated and select them from a type of carousel.
Some ideas might just be a bit closer to flying in the not too distant future, using drones to rescue people from remote or dangerous locations, for instance. While drones might be able to save people in the future, they're saving animals' lives right now. Skycap fly drones of their own design in support of anti-poaching teams in the Kruger National Park in South Africa.
Kruger are losing 1,000 rhino a year, so the brink of extinction stuff is going on. With the anti-poaching work that we originally started with approximately 2 years ago, we used fixed-wing aircraft to provide a surveillance up to about 10 kilometres range. We began to realise that you can't land a fixed-wing aircraft in a forest or in dense savanna scrub. So we wanted to look at a way to use multi-rotors to do that kind of work. But the problem was that multi-rotors, because of battery technology, can only stay in the air usually for about 10 or 15 minutes. So we have created a long-endurance quadcopter, which will give us 60 minutes in the air, carrying a thermal camera or a spectral imager, so that we can get our anti-poaching teams the time they need to make an interception as required on the ground.
From military operations to rescuing people and preventing poaching, it would seem that the skies are about to get an awful lot busier.
Mark Cieslak. And from the open skies to the open road next in Webscape. Now, if you are of a biking persuasion, you'll love exploring the world on two wheels, no doubt. But apparently the very next thing you need to do when you finish each trip is blog about it, at least according to Kate Russell.
Not many people get to live out their dream of exploring the world. But for photographer Alex Chacon, burning up 125,000 miles on his motorbike was just the start. You can see the routes he took and enjoy the outstanding photos and video he shot at modernmotordiaries.com.
The most epic journey Alex has undertaken so far was a 500-day ride from Alaska to Argentina, and you can experience the stunning and extreme roads that cross Latin America riding along with him in this first-person perspective video.
Other features include Around the World in 360 Degrees, a selfie that took 3 years to film. It's easy to feel jealous of the amazing places this adventurer has visited on his motorbike, but thanks to modern technology, we can at least experience some of the wonder. One app that might come in handy after a long motorbike ride is Brainwave, which is £2 on iOS. It has a selection of 30 different binaural programs designed to stimulate brainwave frequencies associated with various states of mind.
You'll need to put on headphones or listen on decent stereo speakers. Then the effect of the tones at similar frequencies playing into your ears is supposed to promote a third frequency that can have a physiological effect on your brainwave activity to do things like stimulate your memory, relax for meditation, or de-stress you after a hard day and boost your motivation.
You can choose to play the binaural tone sequence mixed with music from your iTunes playlists, or one of the relaxing ambient background tracks like rainfall, ocean waves, or the sound of the forest. Just the ticket to send you off for a restful night's sleep. Check out the latest update to iOS photo sharing app LensShare, which now integrates photos, sound and text into a simple storytelling layout. The addition of sound is a lovely touch as you can record the atmosphere at an event to let those who couldn't be there really experience it. The developers tell me an Android version is also in the works. If only everything in life was so clearly labelled.
Thank you, Kate. And that's it for our drone special from Norway. Hope you enjoyed the shots. They were a bit more dynamic than normal, weren't they? For more from us, check out our website, bbc.co.uk/click. And of course on Twitter, we live at @BBCClick. But that's it. Thanks for watching. And I will leave you with a pretty tasty view of Oslo.